Thank you, everyone. So first and foremost, welcome to our first Battle Royale, right, for 2025. I think it will be an interesting Battle Royale. Sebab I think we're gonna make a couple of predictions. Apa tu yang will be beyond a lot of people punya expectations. Because in FACAP, we've always made a lot of bold prediction in the last 2020, 2021, 2022. And so far, our prediction has not been too bad lah, guys. So not so bad. So we're going to make one for Cyber and Putra tonight. So I think if you stay tuned, I think you will see lah whether Cyber Putra ni, is there any opportunity? Should they still call it Cyberjaya and Putrajaya, or they should just change the name lepas ni kepada Cyber Mati and Putra Mati, right? Because dah 20 tahun, 25 tahun ni masih tak berjaya-jaya juga. Right? So if they cannot make it happen the next 5 to 10 years, they should change the name to Cyber Mati to Putra Mati juga. Right? So I think without further delay, we can go to the slide very quickly. So who's managing the slide? Is it LB ke ataupun Zakri ni malam ni?
LB.
Okay. Cyber mundur, Putra mundur. Give me more suggestion, guys. I thought Cyber mati dengan Putra mati, ataupun Cyber sendu, Putra sendu. Dia tak berjaya-jaya juga kan. Alright. So yeah. Can we do the full screen already, Albi? Cyber bully. Ui, lain macam ni kan. Cyber gagal. Cyber senju. Okay, this is sedikit luar nalar ya. So apa tu? So tonight we're gonna do a battle royale Cyberjaya and Putrajaya. We're gonna compare all of the new launches in Cyber and Putra to see whether there's any opportunity for you guys to go and buy. Right, so that's tonight's battle royale. Now, if you move to the next slide, these are basically our past battle royale. I think we have done more than 10 last year. Right, we've done more than 10 last year. Yeah, we can see your slide, tapi dia tak bergerak. Right, you should move to the next slide. Right, so we've done more than 10 last year, from Maluri to Segambut to TRX to PJ to Disepak, Johor Bahru, KLCC, Jelatik, Bongkera, Bukit Jalil, right, which is our last one, right? So you can go and watch, go to my YouTube channel, right, and you can watch the last in 2014 Battle Royale, especially if you're looking to buy property in any of these areas. Next slide, please. Right, so and this is our deal or grill, our new format for this year, whereby we do property review, specifically hottest 5, right? So our next one will be in 2 weeks. We're gonna do deal or grill. So what we have reviewed is Ajal Bukit Bintang, Nexus Taman Pertama, Kingwoods Bukit Jalil, Tuan Tree Heritage, RT Star, Bamboo Hill, Skies Maluri, Atera PJ, Sunway Velocity 3, Radio Marina. So these are all hottest property being discussed online. So what we did is that we did a review lah, basically, right? So we did a review so that people can see, can buy or cannot buy lah. Deal means can buy, grill means don't touch it lah, guys. So we do even own stay verdict together with the investment verdict, and we justify it. So the goal here is to provide contents that will make it useful, that will be very useful for you when it comes to decision making before you buy that next property. Okay, so go and check it out again under our YouTube, right? So next slide, please. Right, so what can you expect to learn today? Number one, all the data lah and information that will give you an independent guide for anyone looking to buy anything in Cyber or Putrajaya as of today. So that's the first bit. Number two, we will debate, we will talk about, will Cyberjaya and Putrajaya finally will become Berjaya, or it will continue to be Sendu, right? It will continue to be Gagal, right? So will it be successful in the next 5 to 10 years, or are they going to continue to be dead? Okay. Number three, you will also know now, after tonight's session, why 95%, I would say 90%, right, of the people who has bought Cyber in the last 10 to 15 years all lost money, right? So tonight we'll uncover that too, right? Number four, You will also know tonight that is Cyberjaya and Putrajaya today overvalued, fairly valued, or undervalued. Okay. Number 5, how to use data to avoid expensive mistake like buying the wrong property, just like those suckers who actually bought Cyberjaya 10 years ago, 15 years ago at 600, 700, 800 ringgit per square foot. Okay. And last but not least, we're going to do a couple of new launch review for tonight, right? So we're going to be brutally honest with our reviews. So this is not for the faint-hearted. So if you have bought something and you expect us to go and say something nice about what you have bought, we're not going to do that. We're going to say something fair, right? So that is what you can expect to learn tonight, right? In today's session. Next, please. Okay. So again, the job is to present the data as it is, to give our POV, again, supported by the data. And, we're not responsible in terms of how people feel, right? Me and Sean, and LB and Zachary has gotten a lot of heated online, especially people who buy lousy property or cannot tahan, right? But again, we're not responsible in terms of dictating how people feel. The job is to present the data, information as what it is today so that it can guide people who are looking to buy into this area. Okay? Now, next slide, please. Right? So I'm going to start first with the tier 2 definition, right? Tier 2 definition. And then after that, I'm going to hand over the floor to both LB and Zachary to present about the area. Right? So number 1, Cyber Putrajaya is part of tier 2, bukan tier 1, tier 2. So what is the definition of a tier 2 area? You look at these 5 things. Number 1, typical rental in tier 2 is between 2,000 ringgit to about 5,000 ringgit. So you're talking about 2 bedroom all the way to 3 bedroom is 2,000 to 5,000. So both Cyber and Putra are your mid tier 2. So dia pertengahan, dia bukan tier 2 paling murah, bukan tier 2 paling mahal. Right? So number 1. Number 2 here is that from an occupancy mix point of view, typically tier 2 is 95% to 99% locals. Right? It's normally dominated by locals and single population, race population. Okay. Number 3 indicator of what is a tier 2 area, typically high rise, especially for new launch or even newly completed property, is asking between 500 to 750 ringgit per square foot. Okay, that's typically tier 2. And then for landed property, right, normally starts from, apologies for the typo, start 1 million onwards, right? But typically it starts from about 750 all the way to about 1 million, even for link houses dekat tier 2. Okay. And when you look at typical tier 2 launches as of today, normally their launch price is 600 to about 1,000 ringgit per square foot. So if you go to tier 2 like PJ, it's very common to see launches of high rise is going close to about 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Okay. So this is what tier 2 is. Majority local, rental rate is, in between expensive and cheap, right? Above 2,000, but below 5,000, right? And property price point is still affordable. Okay. And once you see the data tonight, you will find out that Cyberjaya and Putrajaya today is probably one of the cheapest tier 2 area that you can buy today that is connected via MRT or LRT. So that's tier 2 and its definition, right? So I've done the introduction for tonight. I'm going to hand over the floor to both LB and Zachary, right, to do the full presentation before we then go to the Battle Royale and the conclusion of Cyber versus Putra tonight. Okay? The floor is yours, LB. Zach.
Right, thank you so much, Faizul. All right, hi, Zachary here. So yeah, let me just start with the first one. So today we are covering Cyberjaya mainly, right? So let's see until which part is defined as Cyberjaya, right? So this is Cyberjaya, located in Selangor, so fall under Selangor state, right? Neighboring to Putrajaya, which not under Selangor. So Putrajaya under Wilayah Persekutuan. So these two areas already in a separate authority and separate state already lah, right? So to define the border is actually quite straightforward untuk Cyberjaya. So whatever on the left side of Elite Highway, down area of the Lingkaran Putrajaya, and a little area of right and left of Max Highway on the Plaza to Putrajaya, right? And left side of Lingkaran Putrajaya, and whatever above the Persiaran Selatan is where Cyberjaya is. Alright, so as you can see, whatever that highlighted in the middle is all Cyberjaya lah, right? So downside of Cyberjaya is already the Dengke where Cybersouth located lah, right? So next please. So this is where we detect the center of gravity of Cyberjaya and Putrajaya. Everything we will discuss tonight, we will show you on why these two, Tamarin Square as center of gravity for Cyberjaya and Alamanda as center of gravity in Putrajaya.
Non, is it just me or Zakri hang?
For rental market, owner market, developers market, right? So Tamarin on Cyberjaya is just simply explain how lively the place are as of today. So can say the most attracting commercial in the whole Cyberjaya lah, apart from Deepals ke, Shaftesbury commercial ke, right? So Tamarin is one of the best spot ataupun hot spot in Cyberjaya. Even it is already almost 10 years old punya commercial, right? And for Putrajaya is Alamanda lah, right? Next slide. Alright, so next for booster part. Okay, first, booster for Cyberjaya is Max Expressway 2, aka also known as Putrajaya KLIA Expressway lah. So this is an extended expressway from Max 1, Max 1 that covers from Jalan Tun Razak, KL to Putrajaya and Cyberjaya side lah. So it should be done about, for this Max 2, it should be done about year 2019. But during that time, it was announced to hold, to stop lah. It was on hold as of now, right? And deferred to year 2035. Anyway, the construction is already reaching 40 to 50%. Potentially, we are seeing this Max 2 to happen in the next 10 years, right? Yeah. So next slide. Okay, so second is that the next Desa Park City, which is Park City Botanica at Cyberjaya, right? So many people wonder, is this Park City really in Cyberjaya? By address, yes, it is in the proper Cyberjaya address lah, right? So this total development, the size of 250 acres of land to be developed by a super duper reputable developer in Malaysia, right? Which we would say that not much developer or no one lah has done something as good as Desa Park City done before, right? So this Desa Park City will give, technically they will give super beneficiary lah, especially to the Cyberjaya mainly, right? And why we say so? Next slide. So remember the existing Desa Park City at Manjalara KL area, right? So this is Manjalara. It was super nothing back then. Dekat Manjalara, the neighbor of Desa Park City today lah, right? Tak ada apa-apa langsung. Then Desa Park City penetrate the market. Tiba-tiba they start with the landed, slowly high rise comes after, right? So this Manjalara, way before Desa Park City was in back in year 2000, 2001, right? And this is where it looks like, right? And the year after, where 2002, where Desa Park City was unveiled, right? Was announced. They started already, right? So before that, there were only two high-rise properties in Manjalara area, which median about 120 to 170 ringgit PSF, right? 22 years to 22 to 23 years ago. This is what Manjalara was last time, right? So next slide. And this is Manjalara after Desa Park City. Tahun demi tahun, year by year, more and more high rises entered Manjalara, right? So you can see, apart from the silver highlighted, so there are all the greens highlighted, was developed after Desa Park City. So they entered the Manjalara after Desa Park City, which we're gonna show you the price after this. But this is where it looks like as of today, there were roughly about in total about 9 total condominiums and service apartment in Menjelara, right? So next slide. So this is the findings and analysis that we carried out. So what happened in Menjelara is that for before and after Desa Park City entered this area, so again the first you can see the first red dotted line is there where Desa Park City was unveiled, right? By that time, the median of Manjalara, before that time, the median of Manjalara is only at 130 ringgit PSF saja, right? Before the Sepak still was there, right? I think it's quite normal for second tier KL at that point of time, lah, right? But by time, we can see the growth at Manjalara when DPC, the Sepak City, come to the area, right? And these median, okay, so this median is solely for high rises, right? And the first high rises in Desa Park City was back in year 2007, which 5 years after Desa Park City was unveiled, right? And they were selling 300, roughly about 330 ringgit PSF lah, plus plus. Masa tu nampak sangat-sangat mahal sebab Menjelara masa tu baru 200 ringgit PSF in median, right? In year 2007. But even before the first high rise was in the DPC, because of the Damansara, Desa Park City is there, can see the Manjalara grew about 73% after 5 tahun of Desa Park City was unveiled, right? The first one that we plotted in the grid, right? Then, after 10 tahun of Desa Park City, and after 10 tahun of Desa Park City, and after 5 tahun of high-rise market in Desa Park City, Manjalara grew about 168, 170% in 10 years time, right? And it's even crazy, selepas 15 tahun, in year 2017, something like that, grew about 260%. And after 20 tahun, Menjelara High Rise grew about more than 400% price in median, right? Okay, nampak macam tak banyak. But if to compare Kuala Lumpur whole growth for 22 years, right? For 22 years, you can see that um, Kuala Lumpur whole growth in 22 years is roughly about 270% growth for 22 years, right? Whole Kuala Lumpur versus Manjalara area at more than 400%, specifically after 22 years, about 460% growth price in PSF, right? So it shows that Desa Park City really give a super big impact to Manjalara area as per after they entered the area, right? So, we're gonna discuss more about this after this, but this is roughly the story behind what happened in Manjalara when Desa Park City was there, before and after in Kepong Manjalara KL, right? So next. All right. So we are next. So we are here for investment criteria. We come up with 7 criteria that you must consider before you go and do your purchase for investment. So we are always concerned about many things, especially prices, right? So the first one is median. So you must make sure that you are buying below the property area median. So if your property, if the median at 500 ringgit, for example, if you're buying 500 ringgit and above, so you are technically buying above median and you are not making money at that particular of time, right? So you must make sure that one of the criteria for investment is you are buying something below area median lah, right? Bila 500, area median RM500, potentially about 10 to 20% below median, about 400 to 450 PSF, right? So that's roughly how we calculate it, right? Next, new versus old. So are you buying a new property or older property? Okay, so we are going to make, normally we are going to encourage people to go and buy new property if the property prices is already, again back to the first one, is lower than the area median, right? And at least about few percentage above older property in the area, right? So if you are buying older property in the same area, where we are potentially foresee lower capital gain instead of the new property, right? So next is tier. So are you overpaid on the property at your respective tier, right? So we define the tier 2 area uh, on what parameter that you are looking at for the price, right? So you must make sure that you don't pay over the tiering punya price range, right? For example, if
I
you are
think that we can skip this because otherwise it's gonna be too long, right? So the game plan is to finish the presentation before 11, and half an hour for Q&A, right? So apa tu? I think people who have followed us, you want to understand full 7 criteria, you can go ahead and check out our video dekat YouTube. Otherwise, those who register for tonight, we can send you the link. Is that okay, guys? Because 7 criteria aja ambil 2 hours to go and explain to you. But the long story short, if you follow 7 criteria, you cannot buy the wrong property, right? So we use 7 criteria lah to basically determine, right, whether the property makes sense from an investment point of view or not. Boleh ya, guys? So let's go. Right.
okay, all right. So next, so we're going to cover on the transaction. So there will be a high-rise transaction of Cyberjaya, Putrajaya, as well as a landed transaction in Cyberjaya and Putrajaya. So the first one is the high-rise transaction in Cyberjaya, right? So for newer property, we can see there's about a few number of transaction for the past 2 years, and only about few numbers of newer property in Cyberjaya, right? With a median of 400 ringgit PSF with 400,000 ringgit absolute median. So for older property, you can see quite plenty where there's a lot of developments completed within the last 5 to 10 years, right? So we can see quite plenty. In the whole median is there's roughly about 500 ringgit PSF and about 280,000 in absolute median, with a total of 180 transaction for the past 2 years, right? And the older property here is about 300 ringgit, close to 300 ringgit PSF and 260 ringgit in the absolute median, right? And the one that we highlighted in green, where is the one that located near to Tamarin Square, as well as the project that we we are interested in, right? So I can see here Eclipse Residence, Verdi, Tamarin Suites, and Solistic at roughly about 500 to 670 ringgit PSF. I think later we're gonna go back to this slide to discuss more about this, right? So next one. So this one is high rise in Putrajaya. There's only about few. There's no new transaction recorded, but there are few new developments in Putrajaya. Obviously, Flora Rosa area lah, right? So Flora Rosa is one of the new developments, but there's no transaction recorded on the subsale transaction, right? For old property, for the past 5 to 10 years, for the past 2 years transaction, there are about 9 number of transactions with median PSF roughly about 530, 540 PSF. Median price about 570 ringgit in 570,000 ringgit absolute median, right? For older property, more than 11, 12 years ago, roughly median PSF of about 300 ringgit PSF, and median absolute about 360, 370 ringgit PSF, right? And the total transaction for the past 2 years in Putrajaya is about 26 number of transaction for sub sale, right? In comparison to Cyberjaya, which roughly about 250 number of transactions, right? So Cyberjaya has about 10 times number of transaction more compared to Putrajaya, right? As of today. Okay, so next. This is the transaction for landed property in Cyberjaya. So we segregate into two, non-terrace house, the first one, and the second one is terrace house, right? So on the first one, we can see we segregate to bungalow and semi-D. So bungalow, median, roughly about 2.3 million dekat Cyberjaya as of today lah, right? And also the semi-D one is about 1.6 million dekat sana, with the number of transaction about close to 80 number of transaction for the past 2 tahun. This one solely on the sub sale, all right? And next, on the bottom table is the terrace house, where number of transaction about close to 100 number of transaction for the past 2 tahun dekat Cyberjaya, right? So you can see there's quite a lot of numbers with a median price of almost 1 million already, right? If you talk about the range of transaction, obviously that was close to 1 million and above 1 million property in terrace houses lah, right? But the median in the area for the past 2 years is roughly about 950,000 ringgit for terrace house, double story in Cyberjaya, right? Next. And this is the number for Putrajaya landed houses, right? And we can see that bungalow and semi-D dekat sana. So for bungalow, roughly the median price about 2.6, 2.7 million dekat Putrajaya, with the average size of land area about 6,000 plus square feet lah. Okay. And also the semi-D with the 19 number of transaction, roughly the median price about 1.4 million, right? For the average land area size for 3.6 thousand square feet, right? For terrace houses in Putrajaya, not too bad, right? For 50 number of transactions, for the median of close to 800,000, to be specific, 780,000 for the sub sale in Putrajaya for the past 2 years, right? And we can see the total number of landed transaction in Putrajaya for the last 2 years is about 73 number of transaction, while in Cyberjaya was about 180 number of transaction, where we can see like more than double number of transaction in Cyberjaya in comparison to Putrajaya punya landed, right? So next. Right. I think I pass the floor to Albie to continue on rental yield.
So everyone can, yeah. Hi everyone. So okay, without further ado, let's continue from the rental yield side. So I think guess this is the important parts where people are concerning about whether how many percentage they can make with current markets, right? Is it cyber still the nightmare of most of our investors, or at actually what price point it should be the price that we should be entering, and how many percent of yield that we can make with the current price point? So at past we can see for Cyberjaya, actually we have been separated in 2 different areas. So I will just actually name it those more closest towards the Silicon Valley or Lincolnville UEC area is at the north or upper area lah. Okay, so it's actually more on the right side. On the left side is more towards the MMU area, Tamarin side. So when you can see on this slide, it's actually more towards the Silicon Valley, Shabari area, or at the Lincolnville University area. So on this area, when our government introduced that they're going to make Cyberjaya the Silicon Valley, so there's to provide a lot of working opportunity. So DAPA started to build this area, catering for these working experts. So you can see most of the sites being introduced in these areas is actually, most of them is almost 80 or 70% of it is a small studio unit or even a 1 bedroom, catering about 450 to 500 square feet. So it's actually quite rare or few development in here that, or even for new development that you can see is offering you for our big sizes. So on overall, the performance for all these small sizes is doing pretty well today as per today prices. Okay, not comparing to the prices they was launched last time. Okay, most of it they actually can make quite a good percentage, up to 7%. Even Sharpbury residence is almost about 10 years old for now, but the performance for Sharpbury is still about above 6% on average. So most of the endowment in this area was doing pretty well with the small sizes because they are catering for the right group of people they are targeting. So on overall, the rental per square foot for this area is about 2 ringgit 20 cent. Asking per square foot is about 450. Rental yield is about close to 5.9. But if you're looking for new property and above, most of it is actually above 6%, which is actually doing pretty well. Even you are comparing to some of the area in KL, which you maybe wouldn't make such better yield if you comparing with the similar sizes you are looking for. But of course, the per square feet, if you wanted to enter today, is about at this price point, you are able to make this yield. So on the next side is actually more towards the MMU area or the Tamarind side. So just a little brief of this area. So this area actually have more university schools. We have University of Cyberjaya, MMU in the area. We have Hospital of Cyberjaya. We have Avicenna Hospital. We have international school at here. Our Chinese school also over here. Primary and secondary school is mainly catering at this side of Cyberjaya. So if you're looking at this side of it, so most of the government actually offering much more towards family-oriented sizes, big sizes. So only certain development is actually offering small sizes, for example, Tamarind Suites, and those is more closest towards our MMU, did offer for small sizes, as for example, Eclipse. So Aspire Lakefront is more on the top of the MMU area, more closest towards the our lake side. So it's actually meant for I would say meant for open stay, for more quiet environments. So for this area, the asking per square foot was actually close to 400, because Aspire resident, just to clarify, is for me, the spec of it is actually fall under apartment rather than a service residence or condominiums for his facades facilities wise. Lakefront actually have two. Some of it is affordable homes, so it depends on which are you referring to. So on average, if you're looking for those service residents and also condominiums, most of it actually is more considered at the older side, which is more closest towards MMU or Tamarind side. So if you are looking at this old condominium performance in the area, the asking per square foot is actually much more higher. It's close to 470 per square foot. Rental per square foot is about 220. Rental yield is actually depending on which sizes and also which area you are located at. So if you are located more towards the MMU side, of course, your one bedroom studios of it is performing quite well, because you have variety of target tenants to be your target group. Maybe it's your lecturers, some of the students, and also some is medical officers. So if you're going for big sizes, you have quite a number of families who actually planned to have their families over there. So you have seen Verdi, even their sizes is quite big. Their 3-bedroom for rental is also doing pretty well. It's about 6.4%, because of different group that's situated at this area. So on the other side is actually our Putrajaya. So Putrajaya, if just for notes for you guys, Putrajaya is actually mainly for government servants. So most of the endowment in the Putrajaya is being mainly for those Anggota Awam lah. So most of, like, almost 70-80% was actually built by the governments to cater those who actually work around this area. So for the high-rise development in this area is actually, I would say, quite a few only. So this is some of the development that we can see in the market. So for new one, Flora Rosa and also Sharpbury Avenue, that is in the area. So on average, they are asking per square foot is close to 500. Rental is about 5.5. For O1, their rental per square feet is about close to 2 ringgit. Asking per square foot is 420. Rental is about 5.73. So for if you are comparing Cyber and Putra as two areas, Cyber actually on average their rental yield is also performing quite well. If you are talking about the maintenance of their prices, I would say Cyber actually doing pretty well, because of out of so many numbers, of property that we have in Cyber, that so many competitions in there. But the prices of it doesn't really affect too much, but it all really depends on which area you are in. So which we can look at the next slide we are going to discuss later on, which is the launch versus the transacted and also the asking price. So if you are looking at a summary as a whole, I would say if you are catering for different groups, for Cyber North, which is actually more towards the Silicon Valley, so 1 bedroom is the one that actually having the highest rental yield out of all. If you are going for the other area, which is more towards the MMU, family-oriented size, the 1 bedroom and so the big size room actually is doing pretty well in this area as well. So if you're looking at Putra as whole, most of the layouts coming in 2 to 3 bedroom because mainly for own stay. So on overall, it's about 5.33%. So this is just a summary table on our launch versus transacted and also our asking price that we're looking in our Cyberjaya. So out of so many development that we are capturing today, so Serene Residency and Mutraville, I actually did double confirm for the launch prices because it was a bit out of my expectations because and as we know, Cyberjaya was once I would say a lot of investors wanted to flock in to invest in the area. The prices once was high up until 800 for Eclipse for their launch prices. So, but at first I just put at 700 because this is their very, very first batch, the launch prices for it. So when people doesn't believe that actually Cyber was doing pretty well last time, why the prices can launch until pretty high, this is actually the real launch prices was last time. Why people are actually targeting here because Eclipse were doing pretty well last time for their first few launches, especially for their Salties, their Paragon site. Their prices was doing pretty well. Their concept of it is actually quite new. This is why people are investing in this area and people are buying for the MMU, the students area for Cyberjaya. And all of this development, the only thing I wanted to highlight is maybe I guess some of you have heard of this, the GR. So one of the development here also fall under GR, and also they actually wins against the developer for this over promising things lah. So this was actually by the Arch last time. So which actually as for now is quite old already. It is also near towards the MMU side lah, but out of the maintenance and things happen to there. So it will actually not pretty perform as per today lah. So it's actually not really about which development that you invested in. It's really about maintenance and how long you can actually go for the unit that you wanted to go for. So for example, Eclipse and also Tamarind Suites or even Salties, on overall their rental yield that I presented just now is about above 6%. They're actually doing pretty well or good as per today market as well. From the launch and so transacted prices, it was not much different if you can see over here. So just a summary for the whole. So most of the development in the cyber side, which actually the Silicon Valley, come with small layout. The other area, which is the Tamarind area, where we have university or a lot of schools, are coming with a bigger layout. The rental yield for small layout is great actually on both areas because they are targeting for different community. One is working professionals, the other one is lecturers, medical staff, and students. There's actually no much difference for the rental and the prices in both Cyberjaya area because the small layout features the best yield, they have more demand, but actually there's less supply for large layout catering for 4 bedroom. This is why you see the biggest layout at the own stay or family-oriented area actually doing pretty well or better than a 3 bedroom, which you can see the current trend, the new launches that are coming in a Cyberjaya near towards this family-oriented area, actually catering bigger in sizes. So for Putrajaya, that's due to its community and surrounding, the catering for is more for government servants. So most of the high rises and built purpose for them. So average the price is actually quite, I would say average, there's no height of it. So on average, it's about 480 per square feet. So without further ado, we just go into the next part, which is the Airbnb. So we talk about rental options, right? So just wanted to see how our Cyberjaya, they actually have any other plans of it other than the normal like co-living, renting for student or room rental or even whole unit rental. So surprisingly, Cyberjaya for like, you know, is far from city center, is far from any tourist attractions, but there's still actually people doing Airbnb in this area. You can see most of the central gravity fall under this MMU area. So I believe it's because of the commercial sites is more over this area, and also maybe catering for those going for graduation periods. But out of most of the development here, not all the development is operating under 365 days. So for the data that's being collected here, so I collected those operators that operated about 280 days and above. So it's around this period. So it'll be quite fair to oversee the average avenue in the area. So for 3-bedroom in the area, so the prices is about 180 to 300, average about 230 ringgit per square feet. Occupancy wise is about 30 to 40% on average. If you're going for 1-bedroom, it's pretty, I would say, affordable that you can get. It's about 100 per night for the small studio unit. So making the average avenue is about 16K on a year. So on overall, actually there's still development that's actually doing for this Airbnb, even though we think of Cyberjaya is like out of nowhere. But there's pretty much people who are still doing and doing pretty well in this area. But there are some who actually doesn't really operate on a full year basis. But I do see some who actually offering at a higher price point, about close to 400 per night. But they actually only offer about 150 days, making about close to 300K revenue per year only. So this is the Airbnb mapping that we can see in Cyberjaya. Unfortunately, in Putrajaya, that's actually pretty lesser our operators who are operating in our Putrajaya. So without further ado, let's go to our under construction. So we have few new development that's being introduced in the area for Cyberjaya after so many years. So we have the Vibe. Okay, this is about close to 577 units. It's a freehold, and the Vibe is located more towards the Silicon Valley area, the offices area. So the size wise is about 450 square feet, catering for 1-bedroom or studio. Completion is 2027. 28 story, net per square feet is about close to 510 per square feet today. Facilities, they have pool, they have gym, meeting room, pretty standard. The next one we have Uno Nadayu. Total units about close to 349 units, freehold. The layout size is about 936 square feet, but just to highlight here, some of this layout is a dual key convertible unit. So if you make it into a dual key, so one unit is about 450, so it's actually a 1-bedroom size in this Cyberjaya. So this Uno Nadayos is pretty close towards the MMU. So it's just, I would say, 1 street away, or just 100 meters from gate B of MMU. So this is pretty close towards the Tamarind Suites as Tamarind Square area as well. So completion is expected end of this year, about 30 story. Net per square feet for the public package today is about 520 per square feet. So for their facilities, I guess out of so many development that we have today, I guess this is the one with the most variety one. So have a lot of rooftop gym, they have garden area, swimming pool, sprint area, gazebo, glamping area, badminton court, multi-purpose hall, futsal court, basketball, tennis court. When I go through the list, actually a lot, I would say. From the variety of it, I would say is actually maybe enhancing more towards the healthier lifestyle, because most of the facilities is catering for sport and fitness. So the next one is Sanderling 1 and 2. So this is more closest to the upper side, close to the Red Lakefront area. So on here, it's about 606 units for 2 towers. It's a freehold. So for size-wise, this is memang catering for family-oriented layout. So you can see the biggest size they can go is about close to 4-bedroom, 1,007 units. Completions for Sanderling 1 is about end of this year. Sandling 2 is expecting about 2028. Number of stories about 48. Net per square foot is close to 490 per square feet. Facilities, they have children playground, gazebo, sunken, badminton court. Something special is they have rooftop pool. Okay. For this Sandling, they have few phases or launches to be. And the last one is Myra Cove, 421 units, 5 blocks. It's a freehold. So this is also catering for all family-oriented sizes. You can see from their brochure as well. So their biggest unit is about 1,005 plus a terrace unit. So it's about close to 2,000. So memang meant for own day one. So year of completion is about 2028. Number of stories of 25. Net per square foot about 460. So facilities, they have pool, they have gym, sports facility, badminton court, and also co-working space for this Myra Cove too. So without further ado, we still have one which is actually from our Putrajaya, but unfortunately this is completed, but they still have some unsold unit from the developer. In Putra, there's no new launches, not even under construction as for now. So this Sakura, I would say is more their facade, their facilities spec-wise, I would say more towards apartment, okay? So number of units, about 463 units. It's a freehold. Something special about their layout is they have a dual key convertible layout for this 2020 square foot. It's actually pretty big. Already completed, net per square foot is about 400. This is why, because of the facades and facilities, this is why the net per square foot is actually pretty low, okay? Limited facility, I would say they have pool, children playground, gym, multi-purpose hall. Pretty standard for what you have to need in an apartment. So without further ado, let's me bring all the panelists to the area to discuss about the prices that you have seen, the launch and the transacted, and also the current undercons in the area in Cyber and also in Putra. Does this surprise you? Last time, back in maybe I would say 10 years when they were launched, is close to 700 or 800, but today is close to about 500 per square feet, which is actually at the median. Cyberjaya median today is about close to 510. Yeah, I say it's pretty at the median. So what do you guys think? Is it worth to invest? Looking at the yield, or is it? So what do you think the game plan for Cyberjaya?
I think let's ask the public first. Would you buy or not, guys?
Looking at the yield, looking so good, 6%,
Looking
7%.
at Cyberjaya today, right? Almost everyone who bought lost money the last 10, 15 years, right? Majority project, either you lost money badly or you don't lose so bad. Very rarely you can even see a 5 to 10% gain, right? And ironically, as of today, I think Cyber and Putra has got one of the highest rental yield in Selangor. Rental yield in Selangor is actually quite low. Typically, average, you're looking at about 4% to 5%. So here we are looking at closer to about 6%, right? So if you look at what is subsale as of today versus what is the current rental market, right? So would you buy or not? Right? So I see comment, right? Puchong better. Yeah lah, but Puchong not available at, Puchong is better lah. Same price, Puchong and Cyber, you buy Puchong lah. That one we agree, right? But Puchong not available at 500 ringgit per square foot, right? So high rise and Puchong also even subsale. I don't think you can find a lot below 500 ringgit per square foot, right? So a lot of people I think are in the fence. Some people say no, right? Some people say no, right? So yeah. What's your take, Sean? You got any history, in Cyberjaya? You seem history in some areas.
Yeah, I was the cuckoo fleur that booked what's the one next to Tamarind, the UEM one. What's the call it? Yeah.
Verdi.
Verdi. Yeah, I booked Verdi at 500,000 back then. So it's about 600 to 700 per square feet. I booked that. Then luckily didn't buy. Kalau tak, hampir semampui. I bought Puchong instead. Then a lot of my friends bought the Pangaya, Solstice, and things like that.
Woo! Gone.
All gone, all gone.
Yeah.
Then my architects all is the architect who draft the Pangaya and all. Then there's one like a fan around the leg one. They will lose the most money one.
Oh.
So straight away, no money. He go back Singapore already, the architect. So yeah, but last year I did some projects with Property Guru using their data sense, and only to realize Cyberjaya has the highest rental yield last year. So last year only when I play around, is this correct or not? 9%, 8%, 7%, then like, wait, is it a blind spot or not? Then go and check again and again. Try to beat some units for 3rd Avenue during auction. That time I think they got a Fiesta 30 over units. Then didn't kena anything because apparently a lot of people are buying. But I'm a big fan of the landed there. A lot of my audiences bought Sejati, all made money. All bought the Eco Glades, all made money. Yeah, so the landed there is hot, very, very hot, to an extent where the developer just sometimes tell me to not say too many good things. Because people are angry, they got no units to buy. So that's a very weird situation. Then my latest project I visit there was Myra Cove, and then the first time I went to Cyber Valley. So Puchong also coming up very strong. And I went to, because of, I don't know whether it's just a tak sengaja, I went to Gamuda Cove again. And that bridge that connects over to Cyberjaya straight away on the southern part. Everything also starts to make sense. And so suddenly when you compare, right, the landed products in Gamuda Cove makes a lot of sense. Until the bridge completed lah. So now if for yield, I think a lot of people don't understand like why yield so high but price so low. I think a lot of audiences don't get that it's today's price, not 2017 price. If you buy 2017 now, you lost 30%. Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people don't understand yet. But what's cool is I think we spoke about the JB episode 1 for Medini. Medini was mirrored against Cyberjaya as a master plan where they have a plug-and-play system. All infrastructures are done, developers come in, just whack, straight away develop. But because of that, the development process became too fast. Supply suddenly one go. Everybody can build concurrently. So like we kind of left a discussion at the myth where is master plan a failure because Medini pun fail, Cyberjaya pun fail. Maybe because it's too fast. This format of development is too fast. Then maybe like the second wave, like maybe like look at it. Like just now when you argue based on Puchong, right? Personally, I'm from Puchong. I'd rather stay Cyberjaya because of what a lot of people don't know is if you want to invest, this is the main reason why a lot of buy landed properties there. Their kid from Tadika and the university, Kautim, Cyberjaya. Don't have to move. So suddenly the usage of the terrace house, landed house makes a lot of sense. That's their justification. And I buy that lah.
I find it to be quite peculiar that a lot of people happy to buy Cyberjaya 600, 700 ringgit per square foot when there's only one mall, no international school, no Chinese school, no MRT 10 years ago. And today, afraid to buy Cyberjaya at 550, 500 ringgit per square foot when all of these things has actually been completed. Right? So the sentiment of the market is just completely out of whack, at least from my point of view. Right? So I'm under the view that Cyberjaya as of today is probably the most undervalued area, whether it's subsale or new property today in the whole of Selangor. Right? So it might be a bold statement to make, but I don't think you can go wrong, right, at about 500 ringgit per square foot in a tier 2 area that has got universities, very well planned, in a way, quite well planned township, multiple malls, freehold property, MRT connectivity, multiple highways, quite nearby the airport. And as of today, what is going to be interesting is that I see the market, right, whereby you bet on the four big horsemen, basically. Right? So there are four big horsemen as far as the developer is concerned, right? In my opinion, right? That can be a game changer for any area. Okay? So SP Setia or Eco World, right? Depending, right? So it's one of them. Right? Then you got Sam Darby, right? Then you got Gamuda, and then you got Park City. Right? Out of which as of today, Cyberjaya has got 3 out of the 4, no? Right? Which to me is quite remarkable because I've not seen them competing in areas like this other than Iskandar Putri, right? Which is, but Iskandar Putri don't have MRT. It doesn't have KL Selangor traffic to basically the inward migration from other areas, which you have as of today from Klang Valley to potentially look at Cyber and Putra. They don't have it in Johor. For now, they are not creating enough jobs. So I find it to be quite peculiar. But anyway, I'm under the view that, Cyber and Putra, I would say Cyberjaya, especially if you look at the demand point of view, the demand for high-rise is 5 times greater, exactly. Or is it 10 times greater compared to Putrajaya transaction-wise?
10 times.
10 times, yeah? So number of transaction in high-rise Cyberjaya is 10 times more compared to Putra. And for landed, it's about what, 2 or 3 times?
About 2.5.
2.5 times. So I believe that Cyberjaya as of today is actually quite underrated, quite undervalued, because it was dogged by a lot of, bad sentiment the last 15 years. I think they are gonna turn around the corner. So again, we are no stranger to making controversial statement because we were there in Johor Bahru in 2020. Then we went, betting on Medini, right? In 2021, 2022, and today those areas are doing very well. And I think Cyberjaya is probably going to be 3 to 5 years away from, becoming one of the best performing areas from capital gain, especially, right? Given the fact that rental is quite high, right? In Klang Valley. Yeah. But anyway, I think we are digressing. Let's go for a vote, guys, of all the newly launched development. Right? We have today, which is we got Vibe, right? We got Uno. We've got apa lagi?
Myra Cove.
Huh?
Sanderling, Myra Cove.
Sanderling, Myra Cove. I thought we got another one.
Yang itu Putrajaya kan?
Yalah, masuk sekali lah. Sakura. So, LB, which one do you go for and why?
I think I'll go with out of so many location size wise prices, go with Uno. Just at the median. For me, the layout actually attracted me because they have dual key convertible layout. So it's catering for 2 group. It's either I go for 3 bedroom, still have demand. If I go for make it in dual key, 2 1-bedroom unit, even better yield. So I think it's pretty nice. And also facilities wise, out of so many, have much more variety of facilities. Location wise, very close to Tamarin Square and also University, comparing to the other side, even like Myra area or even Saddling area. This location is much more centric. So I will pay for this similar per square feet for this Uno lah. And also density also not that much.
Just some history of the developer for Uno. he used to be the developer used to be the design department head for Exim.
Oh,
So you see a lot of
so this
Exim
is one
DNAs
hidden.
inside one.
Yep.
If you just rebrand it, right,
Hmm.
it's an Exim product. So for those who likes Exim approach to design, right, you will like it lah.
I think a lot of people don't know that
Mm.
it's actually from Exim.
He's doing very well. So the one in Sungai Besi pun doing very well. The
Yeah.
smaller
Doing
one.
very well. It's quite exceptional for a small developer to go and be able to go and build something like that from facilities point of view.
Yep.
I mean, layout is pretty decent, very, very friendly towards either investor or own stay, which is actually quite rare because typically you're gonna be good at either one, right? So they're very investor friendly or own stay friendly.
Yep.
This one quite exceptional. Yeah, right. So LB, you go for Uno because location and facilities lah. I think Uno is the most expensive, yes, per square foot wise.
Yes.
Okay.
But for me, okay lah for the location and also the potential of the layout. Yeah, quite flexible.
Of everything that we are reviewing tonight, this is the closest to the COG, right, for Cyberjaya. Everything else is
Yes.
more than 1 kilometer away.
Yeah.
Okay. Zach?
Now if I want to buy Cyberjaya, it's just a matter of other consideration already. But price dah okay lah. Think no developer selling future price, right? The price
Correct.
of Cyberjaya has been corrected from the price last time. Dah tak ada dah developer jual 600, 700, 800. Lepas tu tak ada lah kot, right? So 600, 700, right? So other consideration if to buy Cyberjaya, apart from price, is like location, rentability, how good is the layout, what's offered in the development, as in the facilities ke, external facilities, amenities, right? So my answer is Uno, sama dengan LB juga. I would consider buying Uno for what they offered in terms of facilities. So design nampak alike dengan Exim, especially on the full utilization of the rooftop facilities. So it's not like a viewing deck. For some reason, some developer just put a viewing deck dekat rooftop, so they call it they are the rooftop facilities. For this one, they put like the full capital untuk buat a proper rooftop facilities like sky gym. So they have the co-working indoor, outdoor, etc., etc. lah. So I think as far as this Uno is considered one of the best facilities in Cyberjaya as of today for new lah, right? With a variety of facilities, rentability, I think is quite good as well since I have multiple segment of multiple rental options, right? I can go for 3-bedded, which also one of the high demand in the Cyberjaya commercial, the southern part, as well as I can go for dual key, which I also can cater most of the demand dekat Cyberjaya, which demand for studio and 1-bedder now is up until 1,800. So it's quite crazy for deal like Uno lah. So I think I will go for Uno lah because of the location, the flexible layout, rentability wise, and yeah, the price lah.
William?
I mean, Mirai Cove actually quite interesting as well, lah. But overall, if you look into accessibility into things like the new Avicenna Hospital, right, the existing Tamari Square, right, and all that stuff, right, Uno looks better, slightly better. But I think the best part is like what you mentioned, the designer for the building itself, right, is by this person who designed the thing for Exim. And in fact, last week, me and Zachary are there, right, briefed by this person, right? I just love how he presents all the details, right? Like everything that he talks into, like, he considered so deep, right? Like, I feel like, wow, everything is so appreciated. The whole, why they built this, why they built that, right? Why the hall is at this place, right? This spot, right? And how to think
You
of
just
even
kena
design
soul,
the,
is it?
yeah, basically I'm like, wow, I
Feeling dah
love
kena lah.
his I love his presentation,
Aye.
like, okay, you're really thinking for the buyers, right? So I think that part is the one make me sold up basically. And in the other way, right, like if you don't want to stay, it's also there's also layout that can be converted into dual key as well. So I think you have this kind of a hybrid module for you to buy up, basically stay or rent. So I think based on that, I think I'll pick Uno than Mira. I think Mira, I mean, that's good, but I think Uno, based on all this stuff I mentioned, yeah, Uno for me.
Sean?
Own stay Myra Cove without skipping. So I think now the facilities here, right, doesn't do justice to the project. Because phase one, phase two is done in a way where in the center there's a huge park and it's lakefront one. Then there's 6 type of towers. There's a low landed, low rise, mid rise, high rise. So okay, personally I know the architect also, and I almost booked it because for own stay, but my wife don't want to stay cyber, so too bad. So in terms of design wise, it's also something like Uno, but Uno's one is a little bit more commercialized to me. Like that's why if you have intent for investment and own stay a little bit more to investment 70%, right? You will go Uno. But if you're a little bit more own stay 70%, you will go Myra. I realize there's a difference because the entire design schemes to think, and this one is lakeside. You get a very nice lake view on the top. After level 6, basically you get the lake view with the sunset view and things like that. But next to Sejati lah, so you look at the Semidi lah, silakan. But then for Uno, if we are all capitalists here, Uno without a doubt. But for own stay so that's why I don't know if that 1 kilometer away makes a lot of difference. So like if I were to stay, like if I were to work in FedEx or what company is there, like if I work in Tesla, would that 1 kilometer make a lot of difference? Because it's just 2 traffic light away lah. Cyberjaya is all traffic light only ma. So I don't see the relation between the distance and the rental, but maybe the walking distance makes a lot of sense. If I can stay Uno without a car, then it makes sense. But then mungkin ke tak, I don't know. That's my difference here. But based on design wise, this is whether you like Gucci or Prada lah. I prefer Myra Cove to design. And phase 1 has been just completed. So because everyone pick Uno, then I pick Uno, so quite boring also lah.
For Uno, right? Yeah, there is a bus stop lah. So they have a shuttle bus from Rapid and also Kumpul that's actually in this Cyberjaya. So
I think
can bring to the what MRT.
I think
So if
good.
you don't have car, then okay lah.
Yeah, so I think I am too emotionally vested to the location already. Like just now, right? Like all students, right? I would not want students in my place.
Agree.
They have different target
Yeah.
tenants lah.
Oh,
Agree.
so if it's accessible to students, right? You go, please stay away. Like got kumpul lah, go away, kumpul somewhere else, please. So that is what I thought. Like if it's Uno, right, it makes a lot of sense to kumpul. But if it's the Myra Cove, then yeah, I don't know. But then yield wise, right, it's 5 to 6%. It's very, very close.
I think the Kumpul idea is really for MMU, not development specific. I think the university is specific. More than specific lah. I suspect lah.
But it's one road only ma.
It is lah. So you happen to be there, right? And I also agree lah. I mean, anyone who's looking to buy in Cyberjaya, the last thing you want is to have student as your tenant, to be honest, right? So for good reasons, because students don't look after the property, they tend to make the property value drop after 3, 5, 10 years. If you look at any development today that become a student dormitory in Cyberjaya, they all don't make money. Yeah, so you have to target working adults.
Yep.
right? So don't buy into this agent talk because of MMU. You're gonna have all of these students. That's the worst sales pitch you can buy into Cyberjaya today, or even outside of Cyberjaya, lah, to be honest, right? For me, I'm gonna go against my DNA, because typically when you see 5 development, one has got a rooftop pool.
You will go there.
It's very easy to go. Faizul will pick that one, right? So Sanderling is the only one that has got a rooftop pool. But the reason why I will pick Uno as well, and what is unique here is that Uno is right now also the most expensive per square foot, right? Now, the reason why I go for Uno is because I think based on our experience in Maluri, whereby you got Vertica, and you've got all of these properties competing, the one which is the most centrally located, number one, number two here, the best facilities wins, right? In the post-VP market, right? So from a facility point of view, the one with the best facility as of today, I think is Uno. The one with the best location for tenants as of today, especially those who do not own cars, is also Uno, right? So speaking purely from an investment POV, right, I would actually go for Uno, right? Best facilities, I think they've got the best layout as well, right? And provided they don't target students as tenants, I think this development will easily make about 500 to about 1,000 ringgit positive cash flow. Capital gain was also not be so bad, right? Because it is located next to Verdi, which is supposed to be the most expensive lah, right? But Verdi's layout is just not great lah. And as a result, as of today, I don't think a lot of people who bought Verdi actually made money. I would say a significant majority of people who bought Verdi in the last couple of years all lose money in the same location. But they lose money because, well, they're paying 600, 700 ringgit per square foot lah. Yeah.
But
yeah.
really cantik though, the facility.
It looks ugly from outside lah.
Or no lah, it's the designer look lah. They want to age kind of old one. It's like Tamarind like that lah.
So I suspect Verdi is great for own stay as of today, right? So Verdi is pretty great for own stay. Not very high density facilities wise, actually pretty good. Location is great, right? The proximity to Tamarind Square, I think, is very important.
But the car park is a nightmare lah. It's a split level car park.
Yeah.
So you go park level 10 every day, you die.
Yeah. So I think Uno, given the location, given the layout, given the best facilities I think we have right now in everything that we're comparing tonight, I also think it's the one with the lowest density. I guess takes the cake lah, basically, at least for tonight lah. For investment lah, own stay, your own personal preference. The other thing why I think it's going to be quite a big win for capital gain for Uno, simply because I think proximity to SJKC Union is also one of the nearest. Right. So yeah, I think as far as investment, I think everyone is voting for the same. Own stay, I guess up to personal preference. Yeah. So I'm gonna do a conclusion of tonight before we go to Q&A. Just nice, right? Just nice, right? So number one here is that if you are wondering why most people lose money in Cyberjaya in the last 10 to 15 years, it is simply because all of these people actually bought this property overpriced at above 550 ringgit per square foot. Right? 550 ringgit per square foot. Right? So almost everyone who paid above 550 per square foot, all them made money in Cyberjaya. Okay? Number two is that most of the people who bought in Cyberjaya paid above 550 per square foot before 2015, when there was no MRT, there's no Chinese school, there's just one mall, and at the point of time, there's no international school. So today, you've got, well, more than one mall as of today. You got one Chinese school there, you got MRT as well, which is a game changer. MRT and both Chinese school. And today you got multiple international schools. So therefore, you buy today at a cheaper price point compared to people who bought 10 years ago at 550 per square foot. So your risk today, in my opinion, entering Cyberjaya is much lower. Right? Number 3, there's a reason, guys, why you see no development over 600 ringgit per square foot in Cyberjaya in the last couple of years. Banks will never don't want to finance anything above 600 ringgit per square foot. Because of a lot of property above 550 per square foot, 600 ringgit per square foot went to NPL. So they are basically telling all the property developer, if you actually decided to price above 600 ringgit per square foot, okay, then, right, they're not going to finance. So which is why you see developer playing nice, launching property at reasonably good price point as of today. Fair price, right? 4th point here is that Cyberjaya today has got, in a way, an undersupply situation for the next 3 years. There are not many new launches, right? In reality, there's less than 3,000 units. Bukit Jalil has got 4 times more the new supply at double the price, right? So that's just to compare, right? Where we are, why do I think Cyberjaya as of today is undervalued, undersupply? Last but not least, there are not many developers who can claim to be a successful township developer. In my personal books, there's only 4. 3 out of the 4, as of today, are either in cyber or border cyber. So, which is SP Setil, right? Park City, the latest entry is Park City, and obviously Gamuda lah. So with that, I have very strong conviction that they're going to build a very nice township, right? That anyone who bought anything in Cyberjaya today will be able to enjoy, similar to how anyone who bought in Kepong, Manjarara, Sri Damansara all became a beneficiary because a couple of big tycoon decided to splurge, build something nice, right? So everyone is a beneficiary, right? So that's the summary as of today for Cyberjaya, right? Now I think we have to do a disclosure, right? What we normally do lah, right? And recommendations too. This is our recommendation. If you are looking to invest in Cyberjaya as of today, you have to buy below 500 ringgit per square foot, right? And ideally, you want to buy below 500,000 net price too. So 500 ringgit per square foot alone, not enough. You must make sure that you buy below 500,000 ringgit. Now, why is that important to buy below 500,000 ringgit? Because at 700, 800, 900,000, can you not buy landed property in Cyberjaya? You can, right? Those who bought 700,000 property landed in Cyberjaya makes money. Those who buy 700,000 high-rise property in Cyberjaya all don't make money. Okay? Don't go to try to fight, right? What is logic? So Cyberjaya cannot accept high-rise at above 600,000 in general. Okay? So for new property, the advice, recommendation, if you don't want to lose money buying in Cyberjaya and join 95% of the people who have bought in Cyberjaya in the last 15 years, all lose money. Number 1, below 500,000 ringgit, below 500 ringgit per square foot. Okay? Number 2, if you are looking to buy something old in Cyberjaya, you don't want to pay above 350 ringgit per square foot. So I see a lot of comment here. People are saying, oh, subsale, blah, 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 lelong. Okay, 350 per square foot and below, you go buy those things. Because otherwise, you'll be better off paying 450 to 500 ringgit to buy something new. Because if you notice, during LB's and Zakri's presentation, the rental for new property versus old is 20 to 30% higher. Right? So, you buy new, you get new rental. And if you look closely, right, the smaller unit today fetches 3 ringgit per square foot. So if you're paying anything about 470, 480, and you are getting a 3 ringgit rental per square foot, guys, you are basically getting close to about 7% rental yield already. Right? Which is actually quite rare lah. to see an area whereby all developer quiet because the bank tell them you cannot launch above 600 ringgit per square foot. So everyone now good boy in Cyberjaya. All right. I cannot even find one overpriced property. But some of these development, because you have 1,002, 1,003, 1,005 square foot apartments at 500 ringgit per square foot because 700,000. So again, $500,000 ringgit entry price for a 3-bedroom. Okay. 500 ringgit per square foot is your margin, is your safe zone. You buy at that price point and below, you will not lose money, right? I can almost give you that certainty you're not going to lose money, all right? Now, you pay 600,000 for a high rise, even a 450 per square foot because size is too big, most likely you will make money. Okay? So if you want to buy something old, 350 per square foot and below, buy something for auction, 350 and per square foot and below, good price point, right? So that's our recommendation. Now, from an opportunity point of view, if you move to the next slide, okay, at FACAP, right, we have entered 2 developments in Cyberjaya, right? So and the reason why we've entered, because, you know, finally in the last 15 years, right? So we have never bought anything in Cyberjaya up until last year. I think there's a lot of rumor about Far Capital buying Cyberjaya 10 years ago. It's bullshit lah. We've never bought anything in Cyberjaya. All right, anyone who is a Far Capital client will know. We've never bought anything in Cyberjaya in the last 10 years. Last year was the first time because we were able to buy a non-rumah Selangorku, not a rumah mampu milik, at below 190,000. Right? When we compare, the median of such size is about 230, 240,000. We are buying 190,000. We make 40,000 like that. Right? So we're getting 30% versus SPA. So that's our deal last year. This year, which we just launched, right? We are going to about to be completed. Low density, walkable to center of gravity, right? Top facilities in Cyberjaya at below 500 ringgit per square foot. And for clients, we are getting a special price point that public does not get, whereby our clients get to buy this at 0 down payment. They're going to get 40,000 cashback, which is enough to renovate the unit. And we think that you can get a minimum 500 ringgit positive cash flow every month, right? So that's where we are lah. So again, right, we are making a couple of bold predictions, right? We are typically a trendsetter. We enter Medini before it was sexy like today, right? We enter Medini again below 400 ringgit per square foot. People are making money as of today, right? So today we're entering Cyberjaya because we feel that Cyberjaya as of today in the whole of Selangor is pretty undervalued. You can't find any area, guys, whereby you got MRT presence, right? A lot of highway, pretty decent neighborhood that you can buy at 500 ringgit per square foot and below. It's quite rare, right? So which is why I think we think that the tide is turning for Cyberjaya. Very excited to see what Gamuda and Park City is going to build, right? Park City is going to build. So we don't normally rate developer as a booster in a lot of areas, but in the case of Cyberjaya, we generally think Park City and Gamuda is going to be one of the biggest booster because, you know, MRT2 has been built, the Chinese school has been built, right? So therefore, from schooling point of view, even the sekolah menengah and sekolah rendah in Cyberjaya is actually pretty decent. So sekolah kebangsaan is good, sekolah Cina dah ada, international school dah ada. What Sean is saying is completely true lah. As a parent, irrespective of any race, you got yourself covered from an education point of view lah. Right? Which is actually quite rare to see in many areas. Right? So yeah, that's in terms of full disclosure, right? Of what we have bought, why we like Cyberjaya as of today. Right? So with that, I guess we can move to the Q&A.
All right. So let's go to the first question. Okay. Many people lost money buying property in Cyberjaya. So basically, what is your feedback on this?
I think if you watch the webinar today, if you pay above 550 per square foot, you lose money. If you pay 600,000, 700,000 to buy high rise, you lose money. Right? I don't see people who are paying 400,000, 350,000, for 2 to 3 bedroom in the last 10 years complain about losing money in Cyberjaya. So it's all about, you have to understand what's the median price point area, what is people willing to accept, right? Because if you can buy, let's say, for example, landed property in Cyber Putra today for RM500,000, right? Then the high rise cannot be worth more than 350. But you can't. The average median price for landed property in Cyber is 900,000. So is there room for people to buy a property apartment at 700,000? Then the answer is no. So the key is that when you overpay, either from a net price or per square foot, you're going to lose money. And 95% of the people who bought in Cyberjaya in the last 15 years, they all overpay lah. They're not going to admit that they overpay, but well, that's the fact lah. Right? So which is why we like to enter areas whereby a lot of people overpay. Similar lah, Medini pun sama juga. You know, people pay 7, 8, 900 ringgit, 1,000 per square foot for Indas Iskandar, Putri Harbour, Medini. We paid 500, we paid 350 ringgit, we paid 380 ringgit per square foot. So 99% of the people who bought there in the last 10 years all lose money. Right? We make money in Johor. We make good money in Johor. Right? William owns a unit dekat Iskandar Putri. Right? He never took more than a month to go and rent it out, to rent out his unit. Right? So again, guys, either Cyber or Putra, any area for that matter, there's a lot of people who bought PJ and lose money too. Because they paid 900, they pay 1,000 ringgit per square foot. Right? A lot of people buy Bandar Utama, high rise, also lose money. Because they paid 1.3 million for a condo when you can buy landed property in Bandar Utama also for 1.3 million, guys. So you have to remember, guys, never try to fight with the landed property there as an apartment owner. Right? If you don't overpay, you're going to be okay. You overpay, you buy any area, so you lose money. Okay?
Then just to add on a little bit, right? I realized this also. The news of development sells better than the actual completion of the development.
Speculation.
Yeah.
So
So
people
like
speculate, right? While we are building, right? So you know.
yeah. So like for example, like Bukit Jadil, the news of pavilion sells better than the actual completion of pavilion.
Correct.
So Cyberjaya the same lah. And at the time the Prime Minister was heavily pushing also. This infra will be done, this will be given, uni will be there, companies will be there, or everybody buy. Then everybody lose money. Yeah. So that's the observation that I realized, and it's also not right. Like the same thing like what Faizul just said also, like I think a lot of people who bought Bukit Jalil also lose money, right? But now after completion, actual all the dust all settled already. Okay, actual demand and supply. Okay, no more zero hype already. We see true demand, then only we start going in now. I think that's the right move also lah.
Okay. Next question, Aja.
All right. So assuming there will be a new property launching in Cyberjaya again, is there any potential of good investment?
I think we provided the guide, right? If you can enter below 500 ringgit per square foot, below 500,000, for a minimum 3 bedroom lah, not studio lah. So that one correct lah. 3 bilik, 500,000 and below, I think you are fine. You're gonna be okay.
All right. So next question. Do you think that there is a oversupply on high-rise property versus landed, where the demand are mostly landed in Putrajaya?
I think Sean has mentioned before, right? There was a period of whereby everyone was building and selling hyping the story of Cyberjaya lah. So I'm not sure if you guys remember, but I think there was a point that Cyberjaya was selling close to what, 900 ringgit per square foot.
I think the question is Putrajaya.
Huh?
The question is Putrajaya,
Yeah,
kan?
Putrajaya, betul.
Oh, Putrajaya.
Hmm.
I don't think there's oversupply of high rise in Putrajaya. I mean, there's not a lot of new launches, but you have to understand that Putrajaya primary buyer is not outsider. The primary buyers in Putrajaya are normally people who are working for government. right? So government employees don't like to own apartments because they're typically quite traditional, mostly Malays. They like to own landed property, right? So yeah, which is why if you see the demand for Putrajaya high rise or even landed property, landed I don't think because there's no demand, it's just too expensive, right? Right. So even LPPS A so cannot afford 100% loan. So I don't think there's an oversupply.
Like, is there a research done like Putrajaya punya income also not as high? Like the bungalows, of course, the officers will be very high lah, but the median one a bit tough ah. Like for okay lah, on a Chinese point of view, right? You ask like 100 Chinese, and we will never think of Putrajaya as a location to investment.
Income wise, Putrajaya has got one of the highest. I think it's the highest, if I recall correctly, of all the states and wilayah persekutuan. If I recall correctly lah. Zach, you can double check the data lah. But I remember seeing this 2 years ago lah. Putrajaya has got one of the highest income, one of the highest number of average property value of property being transacted. Right. So income wise is actually quite high. Then the question is that do they believe in property ownership or not? Because one thing here is that if you are talking about landed property below 1 million, there's not a lot. There's a lot of semis and bungalows in Putrajaya, which is today quite empty, and a lot of people buy them for investment. Personally, I would rather buy Putrajaya than Cyberjaya, as far as the lender is concerned. Right, personally for me, right? I like to be nearer to the lake. I don't think the price point is too expensive, right? And I think because it's a government punya center, I think the area will be quite well maintained. And from a security point of view, it's going to be pretty great lah, basically. Right? So I quite like the Putrajaya lake. I loved it lah. My kids loved it. So for me personally, if I have to buy a landed property, I'm going to go with Putrajaya. So I'm going to buy an apartment for investment, I'll buy Cyber. It's the more happening place. A lot of things can happen, halal, non-halal. Putra tak boleh lah. The non-halal tak boleh masuk Putra kot. I've never seen a restaurant that serve babi kat Putrajaya. Babi don't exist, right, in Putrajaya, guys? Betul ke tak betul? Ke if I'm wrong? I've never seen a non-halal restaurant in Putrajaya.
Tahu, huh?
Zero babi polisi, I think, Putrajaya. Dia macam Shah Alam, bro.
Shah Alam got.
Oh, Shah Alam sudah ada?
Shah Alam got.
Oh, okay. Anyway, correct me if I'm wrong. I've never seen it, right? So in the comment, so
Your site visit Putrajaya already,
I've seen I've been to all the restaurants in Putrajaya. There's no non-halal food lah. I cannot recall of one. Everything is halal there.
Okay.
I think to live in Putrajaya is more expensive than Cyberjaya.
You mean what?
It's more
Property
expensive to live in Putrajaya than
lifestyle.
yeah.
Well, it's the highest income of all the wilayah persekutuan. So yeah.
Their cars are different. You go to the street or some more. Oof. Okay, next. Hello.
Okay. All right. So moving to the next question. So since Cyberjaya is a failed Silicon Valley, so what will be you all of the panelists' prediction in the next 10 to 15 years for Cyberjaya? Is Cyberjaya gonna be just a residential focus, or it will be like another Elmina?
Personally, for me, is that government has got certain aspirations for certain areas, but its government aspiration is going to be all about execution. So if you ask me, who do I trust executing a vision better? Private sector or the government sector? Confirm is the private sector. So I'm not making a change of view for Cyberjaya today because I like PMX, Kerajaan Madani or any shit like that. So none, right? So what is my pitch today? Park City is there, Gamuda is there, SP City is there. All three of them has got standard when it comes to building township, right? SP probably don't have the same DNA anymore after it became now eco basically, right? So but having Gamuda and Park City. Ooh, Gamuda don't be lousy township. Every township has got a nice team, nice lake and whatnot, right? You look at, how they turn around Gamuda Gardens in Rawang, right? Bloody Rawang now is 700 ringgit per square foot. And even I am tempted to go and buy them, right? So, and if you look at the track record, Kota Kemuning, Horizon Hills are pretty good lah. Park City only got one, which is Desa Park City. But I think that one
It's a solid one.
is a bloody solid one, and give them enough reputation to go and say, I'm going to build 5 more lah. Right? So if Park City wants to run a Ponzi scheme, this is the time. Right? So if they want to run a Ponzi scheme, pulling a fast one, 5 different developments, it's going to be next Park City, this is the time, right? So because a lot of developers have tried to go and do this, right? Like the Empire Group last time, they had one successful Empire Subang, then Empire Damansara, Empire Remix, all was launched, and well,
All kaput.
all kaput lah. So yeah, I think the private sector driving this is a lot more believable than government.
But just now the question was written in a way where, like, in comparison to Elmina, so an observation also just now made, right? Like when Elmina is nothing, right? It's already more expensive than Cyberjaya today.
That's true.
So you see the stigma of our belief system that is clouding our decision making, right? It's very obvious. Right? Elmina once it was nothing, the first launch is already 600,000, 500,000 for terrace house already. But then when now if you look into Cyberjaya, everything got ready, but it's still too expensive because people lose money. And sometimes also people get too romantic about people losing money, so it's bad. But they don't blame the players that is in the game. So I don't know how to say this, but maybe no, I shouldn't be so politically correct, right? So when people lose money, it's just opportunities for us to make. When Desa Park City, right? Like last time also, like everyone thought it was a front. That's why a lot of seasoned, successful investors all missed that boat because it was too good to be true, out of the norm, unicorn. But the rest only Desa Park City, like the rest all also are borderline got lose money one. Like even successful township one, did they make a lot of money? Not really also, because they will always have premium against non-township developments. Like a SMW product versus a pocket land development, a small one, is going to fetch 15-20% higher in terms of landed products. So it also depends on, are you buying high rise, are you buying landed? So the township effect matters. Then a little bit of chronology as well. Cyberjaya is where government built infrastructure, developers built their own project. So, but in townships, one developer built everything, including roads, signage, street lamps, drainage, hambalang, all they built. So that's the difference for this particular audience.
Next.
Okay. Right. So next, how can I enter for capital deals?
You gotta be a client, you can scan the QR code, right? If you want to buy the cheapest property in Cyberjaya that you can buy today, or if you move to the next slide, previous slide, sorry. If you want to enter any of the deals that we are looking at, as of today, we are buying nearby TRX, 1,000 expected cash flow, more than 7% rental yield, less than 500,000 for 2 units, right? Buy Mont Kiara below 600 ringgit per square foot. Buy Bukit Jalil at below 600 ringgit per square foot. Buy cheapest new launch nearby LRT at 240,000 and below. Be a client. We only buy the cheapest, I guess, in the area. And we buy the one whereby you can get cash flow and you get below median, right? So again, like what Sean is saying is that, if you ask people who bought in Medini the last 10 years, they'll tell you Medini no good because, well, they overpaid. They buy an overpriced property when the infrastructure was not ready. Right? We like to buy below market, below median, when the infrastructure is more ready, can support those kind of price point. Okay, so you want to participate in deals like this, scan the QR code, move to the next slide, please. Right, and be part of a FACAP line.
The worst part is I sold Medini when it was 900 per square feet. I was selling it. Ayyo, terrible. I will go to hell one.
Why?
Okay. All right. So moving on to the next question. This one is from Saiful Akmal. So in what conditions PSF can significant drop in price in future? Likely what indication we can take to avoid take property yang price drop?
When you overpay and you pay above median, right, you are immediately looking at a price drop. Right? Verdi, for example, I know everyone will lose money buying it because to me, at 600-700 ringgit per square foot, number one. Number two, the size, I think if I recall correctly, one bedroom is about 700 square foot. Right? So just to get one bedroom unit dekat Verdi was almost RM500,000. That does not make sense to me. For an area like Cyberjaya, no MRT at that point of time, no Chinese school, commercial pun, sikit. Right, it's dead. It's basically dead lah at that point of time. So when you overpay, when you don't follow, remember, we spoke about what is the guide to buy Cyberjaya today. You buy new, below RM500,000, number one, if can, below 500 ringgit per square foot. Okay, you buy at this price point, I don't think you will lose money. The question is how much money you make only. Right? Now, number two, if you are looking to buy an old property, you have to understand, old property cannot fetch the same rental as per new property. People love to rent somewhere new if the price is the same. And people are willing to pay 20 to 30% more premium to rent in a new property, which is why when your rental is high, your asking price becomes higher too. Right? So I can see a lot of comment, people, don't buy Cyberjaya, don't buy Cyberjaya. Again, I look at the data, look at it just objectively, right? Don't care about who you know, your father, mother, brother, sister, cat who bought last 10 years, all lose money while you overpaid, right? So that's one, right? So when you overpay, you already put yourself into a massive problem. Okay, now, number two, there's a reason why all of us here don't like student tenants, right? So, for example, when you have student tenants, what's going to happen here is that they will actually make the place not livable for young adults who are working, especially people who have families. And student, they got no loyalty. Right? They go to somewhere new, they trash the place for 2 to 3 years, they go to the next new. So they're a bit like cockroach lah, guys. Right? Right? So I was listening to a comment lah tadi, student are like cockroaches. Dia tak suka. Right? Sebab dekat dengan MMU, dia cakap student are like cockroach. So in a way, student tenants are not good. So anyone who's marketing MMU as a possible tenant and rental option, I think it is a development that you should stay away from. Right? So for me, why we pick what we pick as of tonight is because, well, it's the closest to the commercial area, right? We know for a fact as of today, if you are airline crew, right, you work for airline company, right, you have two options only to stay dekat dengan airport. Either Nilai or Cyberjaya. These two saja. Right? Nilai kena dekat dengan Jasco, Cyber kena dekat dengan mana? Can you guess? Tamarind Square. That's what they like. Right? So these are the target segment that if I were to buy in Cyberjaya, I want to go and try. right? So I don't want students. So two reasons why property value can drop. Number one, you overpay. Number two, you didn't overpay, but you invite not so good type of tenants to come and stay, right? 10 Bangladeshis, 20 students in a single unit, double bunk bed, they make noise party and apa semua tu. Okay, so this is, for example, reasons why property value can drop. For example, I think ARC, right, from a property point of view, is not a medium cost apartment. It's not like Aspire, right? It should be a condo. But the reason why the value drop, kenapa? They did a tie-up with universities and then the GRR basically failed. And then it was a highly publicized GRR that failed. So basically banyak buyer cakap dia kena scam. So three things lah. Overpay, you get students as tenant, and then you have some drama, right, that is attached to your development like ARC. So in these three things, you see ARC is completely undervalued today. 250 per square foot is completely undervalued. But it's undervalued one, then you bring student pula datang. So the undervalue will remain undervalued for a long time lah.
All right, so now we are moving to the next question. This one is from Fong Kian. The low occupied rate, will it be one of the reason why Cyberjaya property price low and the rental yield high?
I'm not sure about the low occupancy rate. I'm not sure if I agree to that lah. Because number one, no one is basically actively tracking what's the occupancy rate per building lah. Everyone is just guessing.
We did last year.
Oh, you did okay.
Research did ground study last year. Roughly about 60 to 80% occupancy.
That's pretty good lah.
Yes.
So I saw a comment, for example, cabin crew don't live in Sepang, cabin crew don't cabin crew live in Sepang, don't cabin crew tak duduk apartment. I don't know lah. We have a contract with Asia, right? Our condos in Nilai rental is lebih pada 2,500, 2 bilik je guys. And we don't have enough rooms. Right? So I'm not sure lah which part of it, or whereby cabin crew semua duduk kat Sepang je. Cabin crew has got money lah. Right? They've got money, number one. Number two here is that where do they stay, how they look good in where they stay is very important. So apartment murah-murah tu dia tak nak. We've got two options. Apartment murah, apartment paling mahal. Yang murah semua reject guys. Dia nak yang ada rooftop pool. Dia nak ada facility elok. They need a good gym because they have to work out. So we got one apartment got rejected because tak ada gym. Right? So again, these details matter. Right? So I think we've done the study market, and we actually have a contract with 2 airlines. Bukan satu je, 2 airlines, right? And I was in Nilai just 2 days ago. And guess what shuttle bus I saw? Malaysia Airlines. Big bus, Malaysia Airlines. I'm like, okay. So that's the third airline that I know. Memang kat sana lah. So again, if you are talking about airline crew, guys, it's only 2 place je yang dia akan duduk. Sepang ada lah, tapi tak banyak. Preference wise, they only go to Sepang sebab dia nak sewa murah sikit. But for those with a little bit of money yang buat 5-6 ribu sebulan, which quite a lot of them buat if they fly regularly, right? Like 4-5 times a week, they will stay in either Nilai or Cyberjaya, because these two from a commercial punya point of view, everything ada kat sana. Nak shopping ada, nak cafe ada, nak tengok movie ada. Right? So these are just small details. Sorry lah, cerita panjang sikit, but I think you want to know these details, right guys? So kita tak nak sembang teori je, betul tak? So we want to argue, right? So we're not saying you are right, you are wrong, or we are too. No. We're going to talk about facts and detail. We share experience. So we don't think that the occupancy rate is bad. Today, we have a situation we don't even have units. I've got a property management operator cakap, tolonglah masuk Cyberjaya. Right? If you tengok data dekat Believe, 10% of the searches today is looking for cyber dengan Putra. And they've got 0 inventory. Kosong. Of good co-living property tau. Tak ada. But 10% of the traffic, and the traffic is 6 angka, more than 100,000 a month. 10% looking cyber dengan Putra. Zero supply, guys. Couldn't find. So when you look at all this demand point of view, what's the rental rate point of view? Because if you compare, right, cyber dengan Putra 3 to 4 years ago, their rental is what? 30 to 40% cheaper compared to today. During COVID, 800 boleh dapat kot. Right? Studio Soho dekat Cyberjaya. At that point of time, betul oversupply. 800 boleh dapat. Tamarin Square at that point of time, I remember, 900 paling murah. How much is Tamarin Square today, Zach?
2006 2008.
There you go, guys.
Yep.
It's one of the highest growing rental market in the country. So, which is today, if you look at the data, it has been overlooked. It has been bastardized, right? Sebab banyak auction. I'm not surprised, and but that's the purpose of doing Battle Royale lah. You get all of this data, right? Then you can have a different POV. You might not agree dengan our data and POV, it's fine. But at least you have a different POV. Right? And we'll know lah in 3 to 5 years whether our prediction is correct ataupun tak lah. Okay.
And also to add on, to look at a bigger picture, right, in terms of a property cycle point of view. When a particular location is too hot, everybody launch at a ridiculous price where the demand cannot support, everybody lose money, everybody cannot pay installment. That's why there's a cleansing needs to be done. Right? You need to purge everything out. So when it's an auction fiesta, so like everybody who is still like outdated, now in Cyberjaya, not many auction units already. It's very, very hard to get ready. So after that is done, suddenly the price has been corrected. And when you hear say low occupied rate, when occupancy is low, who would pay 1,600 for a normal bedroom? And rental is the highest sensitivity data in the market. They will argue for 50 bucks, 1,650 or 1,006. It makes a lot of difference to tenants there. So when you say, and it's the easiest gauge for the demand, you don't need to think about connectivity, whatever, right? The best hack is just look at how much somebody will pay for that space.
Yeah. I mean, Sean made a brilliant point. You cannot have a 50 to 80% rental increase with low demand. Right? There's no other area that I know of other than Cyber and Medini side that has got above 50% rental increase in the last 3 years. Tier 1 tu pun tak dapat. Monkera pun tak dapat. I mean, if we've got 30 to 40%, we're quite happy with it, Sean.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
But 50, 80% is crazy. Right?
And,
You don't, you can't have it. It doesn't make sense. You cannot have a problem of oversupply and then sewa makin naik.
And the explanation is just simple. Like you just think yourself as a tenant, potential tenant. One place 1,004, one place 1,005, one place 1,008. The jurang banyak tau. And a lot of people, you can just fabricate this kind of data. I think it's hard. Meaning these people are very rich, never read before lah. I think so. Yep.
Next.
Alright. So next is from Firdaus. Adakah di kawasan Cyber South juga bagus untuk investment?
So Cyber South is leasehold. Some part of Cyber South is Malay Reserve. So Cyber South is basically Dengkel lah, guys. So as long as you buy in Cyber South, you pay Dengkel price point, you're okay. Don't buy there paying Putrajaya or Cyberjaya price point. Itu saja.
Alright. Okay, next question is from Gipang. Hi, can you roughly comment about the IOI Resort City in Putrajaya? Do you think the properties there is overpriced?
So go ahead, Sean. Answer this.
Cool place lah. 2 years ago, yes, good price. Now no more. 2 years ago, when the project that we reviewed was stuck, then I was making a video. I just read out the rental on the portal and the selling price of the developer. Why nobody buy? Then only, I think they corrected already. So during the during the correction time, which is the COVID, I think it was a good buy. But now actually it's quite expensive. And they are selling you the mall. How cheap can they be? They are really selling you the mall.
So my personal POV here is that it's the most premium property you can buy today. And there's a reason why it's the most premium property, lah, right? Because of the mall. The mall is doing very well, exceptionally well, right? So therefore, they know that. They sell a premium based on that. And the rental will also be the highest from a per square foot point of view, right, in the area.
Yeah, the mall doing very good. Tak faham.
It makes sense because there's no such mall of that size anywhere in south of Klang Valley. That quality, that size, anywhere. So whether you are from Bangi, Serdang, Cyber, Putra, Nilai, Kajang, so you get it from that, right? So that's like the best nearest mall you can go to. Everyone else does not have a mall as big.
Orang Seremban akan pergi tak?
Yes.
Huh, really?
Yes. Because Seremban don't have similar mall too.
Palm Mall lah.
So it's a mid-valley equivalent.
I always go there eat Hai Di Lao ni lah.
Well, Hai Di Lao Malaysia not halal, so kebabiannya jelas sekali, so cannot eat lah.
Yeah.
Try the one dekat Indonesia lah. Indonesia one is halal.
Cool. Well, I don't know a lot of things about Putrajaya lah. Lai?
Okay, all right. Next question is from Siti Maisara. Sanderling Phase 2 is now launched and total blocks will be eight towers. So is this considered high density and is it bad for investment?
It really depends when they are going to launch the balance towers. Right? So if they launch it, for example, 8 tower, 1 tower every 2 to 3 years, I think it's fine. The market will be able to go and absorb. They get greedy because market is so good, right? Maybe because after tonight's webinar, every developer suddenly, wow, let's launch in Cyberjaya lah. Faizul and Sean is, positive and bullish towards Cyberjaya, right? So this is not the first time lah. We are being used, Sean, to go and sell something, right, without our permission and knowledge, right? So I'm sure. So it depends. So for now, it doesn't look like it's oversupply for now. So which is why I guess, despite the rooftop pool and whatnot, we still prefer Uno because, well, at least it's the only one. That block that's it. Yeah.
All right. So next question is from Zilio. Do you see any opportunity for MM2H spill over to Putra or Cyberjaya?
No.
Okay.
Singkat, padat, no.
All right.
You want maybe you can explain a little bit lah. I think it's a tier 2 location ma. So only locals would find such locations attractive, right?
Yeah.
If it's like KLCC tier 1, Mont Kiara tier 1, and those kind of other tier 1 location, then it affects highly lah.
The other addition to that, right? And thanks, Sean, for asking the opportunity to explain, is that tier 2 in Selangor is horrible because the minimum purchase price is 2 million, guys. So tier 2 in KL, at least 1 million saja tau. So your Maluri, 1 million ringgit for a condo in Maluri is not crazy price point. 1 million ringgit for a condo in Cyberjaya is crazy shit price point. You should die when you buy, So Maluri still got hope lah. So yeah. So which is why is a any tier 2 other than PJ in Selangor is a no.
I doubt any Angmo will know where is Cyberjaya lah. I would like to come to Cyberjaya.
Say no Angmo ever.
Tak mungkin lah. Okay, next.
Okay, next is from Dixon. What is your view on the huge amount of land available for future development? Will there be oversupply again in future?
There will always be the possibility. Then the question is that what is the future launch price? If the probability of them launching at below 500 ringgit per square foot, I feel is going to be very low. The requirements in Selangor as of today to launch a new property is not easy. It's easier to be a property developer in KL compared to Selangor, right? So if you're launching apartment or high rise. So I think you're right, because when you go to Cyberjaya, there's a lot of, empty land. So it's a very good observation. So the right question is that how many can launch at 500 ringgit per square foot and below? Right? Which I suspect lah. I don't think there's going to be a lot. So I think there's an opportunity.
So I think a better perspective to the question is, if you are a developer looking at the opportunity of Cyberjaya today. Okay, Sean say very good, everybody starts launching, right? I go and launch 10,000 units there. At today's price of futures construction price and futures land price, is never going to beat our entry price of today, ma. So even if it's oversupply like 15 years later, it's okay. By the time we would make money and we left already lah. Yeah, so I think the time perspectives matter, cost of that time perspective matters more. So the construction cost, the labor cost, the development cost will only go up. And especially if, like, for example, if Park City do equivalently equally well, like this Park City, right? Wow, Cyberjaya is going to be atas. Don't know.
So
right?
So one is that future launch, what's the cost and how much they can sell. So that's one consideration. Second consideration, which is a very important consideration for Cyberjaya today, is what is the bank comfortable valuation as of today for high rise in cyber. Right? So the reason why you don't see a lot of new launch in cyber is because bank is not favorable. Right? Bank is not favorable for anyone to launch at above 600 ringgit per square foot. Which means for many of the developers, their profit margin is actually below 15%. Right? So the day that Park City comes in, starting to launch at 700 ringgit per square foot because, well, I'm Park City, or Gamuda comes in again at 650, 700 ringgit per square foot, right? That's when all the other developer will, hey, you can agree to finance this Park City, this Gamuda garden developments at 700 ringgit per square foot. I should be able to go and get 600, 650. Right? So that will be the time whereby if these two big brothers, the moment they can launch at 650, 700 ringgit per square foot for high rise, the rest of the smaller pocket land will follow. Then you could have a situation whereby you have an oversupply, potentially. Right? So if you're a client, typically we'll tell you okay guys, we look at the numbers, 12,000 new supply, it's time to get out from Cyberjaya today from our existing portfolio. Let's cash out when we can get to sell at the market peak. Right? So again, it's all about information. As of today, I think it's very unlikely. Right? Highly unlikely.
All right. So next question is from Afendi. Any spillover effect to Putrajaya property nearby IOI City Mall? So IOI City Mall is expanding to phase 3 very soon.
It's very weird sebab I think if you compare the price point of property either landed or high-rise in Putrajaya before IOI Mall opened, it was actually higher compared to today. So this is the first time I see a mega mall being developed and the property value actually dropped. Okay? Which I suspect due to one primary consideration, it is because the property was overpriced to begin with. The last expensive launch in Putrajaya was, I think, close to about 900 ringgit per square foot. And it was next to Alamanda Mall. Right? I haven't been to Alamanda Mall for many, many years, but I was told that IOI was the Grim Reaper for Alamanda Mall. Right? Today, Alamanda Mall apparently is tengah mati lah, thanks to IOI. If you are from Putrajaya, you let me know. I think there are comments about how come we are not highlighting anything with regards to Flora Rosa or any other development which today in Putrajaya. Zero sub-sale transaction, guys. That's why tak masuk. If you are wondering lah, why these developers are not being highlighted as part of the sub-sale median. No transaction sub-sale. Okay, there's a lot of asking, no actual transactions.
I think we want to rub that in a little bit further. Just imagine 2 years. Nobody's buy. Then all the listing on the iProperty, Property Guru, right, is all just duff. That's demand, guys.
Yeah.
Scary, you know?
I don't know whether we have sub-sale transaction for IOI or not, LB. Like,
To check again, quick one. But I
yeah.
think your eye is not under Putrajaya.
IOI is not under Putrajaya. But it's called IOI City Mall.
Yeah, they call it Putrajaya.
Ooh.
But that's not Putrajaya.
Well, technically, it's not under Putrajaya proper lah. Right? So, but you know, Putrajaya is more fashionable than Sepang. So, which is why it's called IOI Mall Putrajaya. Developer very clever. Okay. But can we check what's the number of transactions? If we can have access to it, Zachary. So maybe before the end of the webinar, we can highlight a little bit to see lah. Despite the Grand Mall, how many number of transactions yang ada kat sana.
Sure, we'll come back later.
Sure. Next question, Aja.
Okay, sekejap. All right, this one is from Ye Sai. So how about offices in Cyberjaya? It is selling very cheap.
How cheap is cheap?
I think they are referring to the Ken Winston, the one auction a lot. Actually, not only Cyberjaya, office everywhere also suffer. The toughest product to market for all developers right now is office.
So office is different, guys. We've seen area whereby you can easily sell high-rise residential for 500, 600, 700 ringgit per square foot. You have thousands of buyers buying. And the office next door, 350 pun tak ada orang mau. Right? So be careful lah. Unless you are buying for own stay.
Own use.
Own use, sorry. Own stay pula.
Okay. All right. So next question is from Faizal. Does Far Capital have any units at Myra Cove 2 under their listing for own stay purpose?
For now, tak ada. Because our focus is on investment. So we buy the best property we can buy for investment. The one with the highest margin of safety. The one whereby people can buy tanpa modal and still get positive cash flow. So that's our goal lah. For own stay, maybe in the next 6 to 12 months, I don't know. But let's see. But focus to the investment dulu.
All right. So last question, this one from Siti Maisara. So for Cyberjaya, should we talk about the elephant in the room where the development distortion might actually starts with the tech developer of Cyberjaya? So who should be driving the smart city vision?
I think the last thing you want to do is to buy Cyberjaya because you believe in the smart city vision. That's really the last thing you want to do. I mean, put it this way lah, government has got a lot of good intentions, but it's all about execution. Its ruthless execution is what's going to drive anything. right? So if you are looking to buy Cyberjaya because of the smart city vision, my advice is don't. All right, you buy Cyberjaya because it makes sense to you. Kids schooling, rental makes sense if you don't stay there, right? You like the area and you think you can stay there. If you buy full stay at least for 5 to 10 years, because the infrastructure is ready, then you go buy Cyberjaya. But if the smart city vision happen, great. If it doesn't happen, you're still happy, right? Don't be like the guys who bought into this idea 10, 15 years ago.
Just to be a little bit blunt, right? What does smart city even mean? I don't even understand what is smart home. So what is smart city? Right? Self-driving cars, that one is Tesla, ma. So, and tech developers. So I think the right framework to think about is who is the master developer, who is the plot developer. So master developer is one guy that builds all the infrastructure, which is already done. The second one to consider is who is building the project that you're about to buy. Then no more, no more, because it's all done. Like the infrastructures are all done, plot all carved out already. It's not like the Park City developer where land is nothing. They're gonna start from the roads. Cyberjaya, all roads, drains, all done already. So that's the main difference lah.
And the man behind Cyberjaya, who was the primary master developer, has passed away recently, right? Tan Sri MK, right? Of MK. So
Pass away already?
Passed away already.
Oh.
Right? He got MK land, the Damansara Damansai and Damansara Perdana. Then he's got the MK portion, which is a private entity that actually drive the development in cyber basically. So if you ask me who's the master developer in cyber, it's basically them lah.
Not Setia Haruman, meh?
It's either them and MK lah.
See which part lah, or Cyberjaya lah.
Yeah, which part lah? It's his private vehicle lah. So he passed away. So now it's being held by their children, right? So no.
Yeah.
Again lah, I wouldn't recommend people buying into Cyberjaya because of the smart city theory. Okay.
Right, so that's all, I guess.
All right. So this is our earliest, all right, Battle Royale that ends at 12:20. All right. So woohoo. So I hope we've delivered the message, guys. And looking forward to go and do one Battle Royale every month, starting from and next one will be after Raya lah. So our next will be Deal or Grill, right?
Question.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, no, this is a very selfish question, right? Is there any land restriction for ownership in Putrajaya one?
It's macam ada. Macam ada. Yeah, macam ada. I think there's a comment here lah. Foreigner cannot buy. Right? Freehold. Right? So I think macam ada. And I maybe correct me if I'm wrong lah, Fazan. Because I'm not very well versed on Putrajaya. If you bought a bumi lot dekat Putrajaya, even though if it's freehold, I think kalau you nak jual, you still need consent, right? If you want to jual to non-bumi. Betul tak? Correct me if I'm wrong. So even for freehold property, you still need consent from
state. Federal.
Correct. Yep.
Cool.
So
wow. Okay.
So it's freehold with restriction.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Good night, and I'll see you in the next Deal or Grill. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.